he gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3-wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Go out here for Circuit to Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, just insane.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the YesterYear Racing Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. We are back for 2024, kicking the season off strong. We've got 43 drivers here at the high banks of Daytona International Speedway, and it is going to be a good one. My name is James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. The action Sandy Peace frames a second as we get ready to send these drivers out on track and get this show started here today. Again, 40 drivers making their way out, a packed grid. Looking forward to some great racing. Starting on pole, the defending champ Tom Ogle in the number 11. His teammate Josh Robinson starting second. Jerry Isaacs starting third. Jack Yeagerman starts fourth. Wayne Hufford starting fifth. Clint Rice starting sixth. Dan Hill starting seventh. Brian Lindsay starting 8th. Brian Lynch starts 9th. Lloyd Moore starting 10th. William Martin starting 11th. Michael Watts starting 12th. Cycling it back to Victor Lane starting 13th. Mark Fish starting 14th. Michael Mueller will be starting 15th. Courtney Nelson 16th. Chris Bates starting 17th. Patrick Martindale starting 18th. James Waldo starting 19th. John Hinchcliffe starts 20th. John Foltz starting 21st. Kevin Strandberg starting 22nd. Greg McDaniel starting 23rd. Joey Buscemi starting 24th. Daryl Winninger starts 25th. Eddie Jones starting 26th. Robert Garisco starts 27th. Gavin Adams starting 28th. Clay Walker starting 29th. Dustin Martinson starting 30th. Jim Smith starting 31st. Dale Copeland starting 32nd. Dakota Pischke starting 33rd. Jonathan Green starts 34th. Andy Thomas starting 35th. Mike Hammond starting 36th. Back on the back one more time. The Tom Amasi starting 37th. TJ Rogers starting 38th. Stephen Maddox starting 39th. Michael Everhart starting 40th. Alan Wanamaker starts 41st. Daniel Edgren starting 42nd. And Monty Hood round out the massive car field here today. Drivers rolling off the line here. As we get ready to get things started. Let us know in the comments here on YouTube where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently be listening in on the broadcast, and they always go back and watch this over. Now, for a little bit of clarifications as well, as Tom Ogle won the Winter Series that we started off October 12th, and I'm going to verify this. It was Josh Robinson who won our last full-length season last year. Got Jeremy Mayo joining us, Rick N joining as well. The fans saying, hey, the real life Daytona might get rained out, but not here at the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. As we get ready for the pace car to come down pit road and fire things up for the first time this season. many drivers now. It looked like John Hinchcliffe, the number 8, is going to be starting from pit road. Not sure if he has some sort of mechanical or what the issue might be here. And we are green flag racing. That's going to be Ogle Robinson up front. Looks like it's going to be the number 51. Staying tucked in here. That's Gary Isaac. Chevrolet. It looks like I just saw that was Dan Hill dropping down the inside line. Now a on the board here today. Expecting fuel windows to be around 36 to 37, let's call it 35 to 38 laps if you're leading the charge. If you're further back in the field, you can stretch that out a little bit longer, maybe up to 44. So, drivers, round lap 35, and it's going to be interesting to see how things shuffle together. Now, generally, the rule of the Super Speedway rule is kind of take it easy the first 90 laps, and then throw the elbows out there at the end. And get ready to try and make Ogle up front is going to get the credit and the distinction of the first laps led of the season. I saw something happening back there. I saw a lot of drivers hitting the pit road lights. I'm not quite sure what happened. Grab a replay. Eddie Jones was one of the first drivers. Somebody has huge issues. Can't quite see who that was. I think that might have been Kevin Strandberg. Goes right behind. Can't quite see that was. Hey, Ben, let's try one more time here. Eddie Jones is going to come down pit road. Like the 68 of Strandberg. Hard into the wall there. Got a little bit of help. But thankfully, all things considered, it's going to keep it pointing in the right direction. And did not bring out a caution somehow, which is very odd. Not much has changed. Isaac's Hufford, 1, 2, 3. With Yagerman and Hill rounding out the top 5. Now, before we were pulling up that replay, we were talking about how drivers are more apt to kind of take it easy here. So I think any crashes you're going to see here. Timing. I think that was Michael Mueller. Oh, rocketing across the track there. Up a 71. Contact a little bit 3 wide. Mueller might have come across the nose of Briscoe, but what a great save there. Now our broadcast software normally shows us any big incidents out on track, but in these moments where we're not having proper crashes, no cautions, not giving me much of a inside scoop here, but judging by the software, having to rely on the old Mark II eyeballs to spot those incidents. Now, it looks like you've got 2 different packs out on track. You got 1st through 13th tucked in single file. And then we're right now focusing on Patrick Martindale, the number 93 machine, at the head of the 2nd pack. I'm excited to see. We've gotten close to a couple cautions early on here in this feature event opening up the season, but I'm really hoping we see some great flag runs from these drivers. Historically, that is what they're known for here at the OBRL. I'd also like to thank our sponsors for coming on board this new season as well. We've got, of course, the title sponsor, YesterYear Racing, running legendary cars and track lineups on iRacing every Tuesday night. You can find that link in the description here. We also want to thank Top Flight Button Picker and Victor Lane Sports also coming on board this season. We're great to have so many cool companies representing the YesterYear Cup Series and making sure these drivers always have a place to go at the OBRL. Now we're going to be covering all the action all season long here. Tom Ogle navigating a little bit of traffic on in this event. That was Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine, involved in one of those earlier incidents that thankfully did not bring out a caution. But that does put Jones in lucky dog contention. So he's going to be one driver hoping for a caution here, as I believe the top four getting a little bit of a breakaway. They built up about a 1 second gap over Hill, the number 7 machine. He's running 5th, also single file. So interesting to see the packs kind of spreading out here. We're going to pan back to Dan Hill. Hill has Lynch, Martin, Moore, Watts, Fish, Robinson, Rice, and Nelson behind. Now, I'm not quite sure what happened to Robinson to make him kind of fall back here. He was running towards the front with his teammate Ogle. Robinson showing down 9 spots now. And it looks like those top 4 drivers still very slightly pulling away from the rest of the field. Traffic up ahead, I believe. Yep, that's going to be Kevin Strandberg, the number 68 machine, just ahead of the lead pack. Watch and see how Hill and friends navigate the traffic here. Now, thankfully, early on in the race, once these drivers run into lap traffic, still plenty of room to navigate in these Next-Gen Cup cars and make your way around safely. Now, late in the race, we're going 2 3 wide. If those lead drivers find some traffic, that is where you can find some very interesting situations. Now, I imagine Strandberg's going to try and hop to the high line and then maybe use draft from this second pack. He's kind of in no man's land there. Looks like he's trying to latch onto the lead pack. And Hill's going to use that draft as well. Hopping around Strandberg, and it looks like Hill might be catching the back of those top 4 drivers. That's going to be John Hinchcliffe actually going to lap down that number 8 machine. Giving us the inside scoop, saying some drivers that they might be going a lap down, and consistency is going to be the name of the game here, is the discussion amongst the drivers. Has to be very smooth on the input. Drivers hitting speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour. Clint Rice, the number 6 Chevrolet, he's sitting 12th. Clicked off the fastest lap of the race with a 45 flat. And we'll see this later on once we get some more onboard footage rolling as well from these drivers. If you're not very precise on the input at 200 miles an hour in a corner with about 50 other drivers tucked in right behind you, one little jerk of the wheel, the guy behind you is going to try and follow, and the next thing you know, it's a big game of crack the whip down the draft pack. Right now, Ogle's still out front. That number 11 machine be burning up a little bit more fuel than the rest of the field. So we have the top 13 drivers linked up here. Go a little bit further back to 14th place. That's Patrick Martindale, the number 93 machine in the Chevy with the second pack. And got about 7 drivers behind that Napa back 93 machine. Got another pack led by Robert Garisco, the 28. That's going to hold 22nd to about 30th place. So 4 distinct packs out on track right now. And this could be another contributing factor on when we stops for drivers. It'll be a 2-stop race, barring any of cautions here. I don't think we're going to see anybody try and do anything crazy with fuel saving here at the high banks of Daytona. Patrick Martindale, the 93 machine, just clicking off laps here. And grabbing on board with Mr. Brian Lindsay, second in line in the back. Okay, there we go, the number 24 machine, not facing the right way, but I think we'll do it again. On the hood of Brian Lindsay, trying to stay linked up right on the tail. That Napa know-how 93 Camaro ahead of him. The onboard. So watch the wheel input here from Brian Lindsay, that 24. The little red line you see dance on the bottom of your screen is the top of the steering wheel for Lindsay. And it is, maybe some of the fans are surprised at how much wheel input you're actually getting there. Because Gary might need some adjustments as you navigate the track. Also, as you can see from the onboard, Lindsay is doing the same bump to Martindale. Your nose to tail diving into the corner. Not a whole lot you can see there. The other driver blocking the view. Yeah, Jeremy Mayo spot on. Second pack here, 14th pack, losing a whole lot of time to the leaders. They have fallen almost 12 seconds back from the lead pack. Now as we pan back, there's the lead pack out on track. A whole lot of lap traffic behind them. 4 drivers tightened up nose to tail to help you get a little bit more momentum going and pushing more and more air out of the way. Jack Yeagerman, the number 27. And M&M's back race car looking as well. Good to see some new paints for a new title sponsors for a lot of these drivers coming out in debut. Yeagerman qualified 4th, still running 4th. I believe most drivers here is going to be kind of taking it easy, clicking off laps, and trying to keep their noses clean. We've got about 15 more laps before we expect to green flag pit stops. And we've got a caution out on the track. The fuel window is going to be thrown out the window here. Like Dustin Martinson, one of the drivers involved, the spearhead backed Chevy. Play queued up here. What might have happened is we almost had a little bit of contact after the caution. I think he just got hooked by it might have been the 88. Greg Hammond? Down a little bit. That second group of drivers is going to be happy with a caution, getting ranked up here. Not nearly good enough angle. Yeah, it looked like Hammond and Martinson, not sure where their fault is going to lie on that one, but Martinson's going to get the worst end of it here. We're going to have a lot of drivers pre-linking, but I'm still showing about 6 drivers a lap down. I think that puts John Hinchcliffe to number 8, and he's in Lucky Dog contention here. I imagine we're going to see majority of the field come down pit road. Can't imagine we'll see stay out. Ogle, race leader, running his historic White Claw backed racing. A great driver with terrible beverages. Back out on track after that super strong winter season. Got Jeremy Mayo asking, could some drivers stretch it to 38, 39 laps in the draft? And from what we were told by drivers leading up to this main event, got a couple tidbits. We think that may be a possibility for some drivers that find themselves sitting a little bit further back and taking advantage of the air being pushed away by the drivers in front. Like the entire field come down pit road, and we were right. John Hinchcliffe is going to get the Lucky Dog wave around here. Now, most drivers are going to take fuel and no tires on this stop. And Jack Yeagerman is going to have one of the fastest pit times and out of a stall in 9.18 seconds, a full seconds faster than Tom Ogle, who is your previous race leader. And now Yeagerman's going to get at least one lap led the credit here at Daytona. Let's see if we get everything stacked back up. Now it looks like Stephen Maddox, Dakota Pischke back down pit road. Maybe taking a late pit stop here. And we're going to get them gridded back up, double file. On your front row, it's going to be Yeagerman and Ogle, Hufford and Isaacs the second row, Lynch Hill will be the third row. Well, that's the first caution of the year, ladies and gentlemen. About 21 laps clean. And let's see. Now, cautions tend to breed cautions. So hopefully that's not going to be the case for these drivers. Hopefully more momentum built up. Personally, I'm thinking we're still going to have... I don't... But I'd be able to stretch it out that long, especially without a caution. We've seen some pretty wild fuel strategies out of the past from these drivers. Wait for that iRacing safety car to come down pit road. And we are green flag racing once more here at Daytona. Hagerman's on the inside line, that number 27. He's going to try and guard it. That was Ogle's sweet spot early on. Now Ogle's going to be up on the high side. He's got Wayne Huffer in the 75 tucked in behind him. Looks like Ogle, going as the race leader here, has been able to make it happen on the high side. He's got Hufford up top with 75. Hufford briefly showing as the race leader. Brian Lynch, the number 9 machine, second in line up on the top side. Right across the line, we are 1/4 of the way through the main event, but we've got problems. Looked like that might have been... Looked like Robinson in the main lead. Maybe, oh, that's Jim Smith for certain. That car in all sorts of bad shape. What happened to here? Thankfully didn't bring out a caution. Oh, a huge check up ahead of him. Smith gets into the back of another driver and then gets punted up towards the wall. And that poor machine was all out of shape, couldn't even turn the right direction. Smith is going to spend a long time in pit road trying to get that thing hammered back into shape. Hufford and Ogle still out front. Looks like Hufford's going to try and come down low here, take up the inside line. Get credit for a lap led. Now Brian Lynch will lead up on the high side. Again, we talked about that high-speed game of snake drivers trying to hold on to that preferred line here. Drivers with extended stays on pit road. Jim Smith, Maddox, Michael Mueller have all been there for about a minute or longer getting repairs worked on. Kevin Stramberg retire from this season opener. Now Lynch basically showing the race leader up on the high side. And Brian Lynch is going to aggressively drop to the inside line just ahead of Hufford. Going to be good. I mean, things are still pretty tight up front. I was expecting the drivers to hop back into a single-file groove, but that is not the case. And look who's charging forward. Michael Watts, the number 84 machine, with Robinson linked up in tow. 2 Fords charging up on the high side. I thought drivers were going to calm down, take it a little bit easier. Not the case. We are starting to get a little bit of racing going on. Check back here. Michael Mueller and Maddox involved in a crash. I'm not sure if that was involved in the same incident or if they're just over and signing off. It looked like the case for Maddox. Oh, just gets absolutely pulverized there. That was Mueller, and that was Maddox who on T. The other driver checking up. Still running strong up on the high side, 30 laps through this opening event. Watt's normally a road race ringer. Interesting to see what different drivers are doing. We've seen a bunch of different strategies in the past. Some drivers try to get up front early on and maybe think that's going to be the safest place for them. Other drivers kind of hang back and let things kind of work out. Maybe a little bit smaller car count before you start trying to make big moves. But we've got 25 drivers out here. And as of right now, the high side looks a little bit dominant. Oh, and things are getting very busy up here up front. I'm very surprised to see so many drivers pushing this early, this aggressively. Brian Lynch from the inside line is holding, making it high and being as safe as he can. Got Hufford behind him on the inside line. On the high side, it's still Watson Robinson. I believe that's Courtney Nelson also up on the high side. So the 3-4 drivers are making some moves here. Watts is up 11 spots. Robinson qualified seconds, running exactly where he started. Courtney Nelson also up now 14 points. Our starter out on track, though, is going to be Clay Walker, the number 2 Ford Mustang. He's up 20 positions, running 9th out on track. Nelson grabbing that 15th place spot. Looking very good here. What just happened? We saw Hufford falling back a little bit there in the 75. Jim Smith, unfortunately, number 61 machine. I don't mean to laugh at anybody's misfortune, but the delivery was spectacular. Smith letting us know he waited all winter long just to only run 24 laps. And I've got to say, I think that's part of the bad luck at super speedways. I like to call it the draft lottery here at Daytona, Talladega, sometimes even Michigan. Everything perfectly right and still have your night ended early. Like Nelson still trying to get that momentum on the low side. This is a vortex of danger is what we call this. And now there's lap traffic up ahead. So that's going to be the McDonald's back. Is that Grandpa Pischke? It is. Dakota is going to fight to stay on the lead lap in that Toyota, but he's got an absolute freight train coming behind him. We are too wide and about as we make our way onto the tri-oval here at Daytona. Now we're not expecting any green flag stops until about lap 55 or so. It's gonna be a white knuckle ride as drivers get ready to approach traffic. I think right now Nelson might be in a safer spot on the inside of the line, as Watts would have to squeeze down low. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Will our drivers be able to navigate the traffic safely? Right now, drivers will be communicating over the radio, and well done to Pischke. Realizing what's coming up behind him. You know what, guys? I'll hop down the apron, bleed off a ton of time. That's going to keep everybody nice and safe here, as it is a massive pack, 25 drivers. Thankfully, able to get through that one. And the fans agreeing with lap traffic as well, saying that was definitely the right call. Let's see, Watts still up front, 38 laps in. Robinson giving him a big charge there. Field's still chalking around. I want to go back to Robert Garisco here. In the number 28, he's having a great run as well. Up what was about 20 spots, but the field shaking itself loose there. And ahead of him is Clay Walker. Probably that number 2 machine. Clay has made his way up 23 spots, but now, every time I pan the camera, now it's Dale Copeland, who's just taken over 23, 24 spots to his name. Copeland piloting the number 55 Lego back Chevrolet. Watt still up front. Big question here tonight is, ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see a green flag run by the time this is all said and done? Usually whenever I say that, somebody must hear it and then decide to hold the wheel right and cause a little bit of excitement. There's Wayne Huffer, the number 75 machine, giving a push to Brian Lynch, who's back number 9. Everybody knows the tail. We're going to try and get an onboard here of Hufford as well. Right? Beach Grinder, that number 75 machine. Not a lot of breathing room out there out on track. Some fans asking a question. I think that might be the question of the night here. Got a poll up for the viewers at home. Let us know, are we going to see a green flag pit cycle? Yes, it's the norm here at OBRL, or no, somebody's going to run out of talent and we're going to see that yellow flag come back out. All right, the votes are quickly coming in and the eyes are ahead here. Right now, the fans think the drivers will be able to hold it together and put on a show, at least until we've got that green flag pit stop underway. Right now, it's odd to say the pack of top 25 drivers. All 25 of those drivers still in the mix. Now, we do have a second pack out on the track, led by Patrick Martindale. He's got TJ Rogers, Alan Wanamaker, Gavin Adams, Michael Titanium Everhart behind him, but they're going to keep losing a whole lot of time here, I think, because the lead pack just has so much momentum built up ahead of them. Laps, 11, no, let's make it 10 as they get ready to cross the start-finish line this time by. The fuel window will be officially open for these drivers. Great to see as well. Trying something a little bit more wild and free with the fuel strategy. We had reports that drivers were sitting in the draft could make it a little bit longer than 40 laps on fuel. So if we see around that lap 60, 61, maybe 62, that driver's going to be trying to make it on just one green flag stop. Greg McDaniel, one last regular season in 2023. He's contesting for the lead here on the inside line. Got Courtney Nelson, the number 48, trying to get a Cartoon Network painted number 1 machine. Michael Watt still holding on to the race lead. Like the high line might be a little bit more dominant here. The lap times to update still in the 200-mile-an-hour range for these drivers. Yeah, good point. We only have one triple-digit driver. Haven't really touched on that in today's show. So here at the OBRL, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series, have to earn your double-digit numbers. So if you see a driver out on track with triple digits, in this case, only one driver, Monty Hood, potting the number 102 Toyota. That means you are ineligible to qualify for the race, and I believe it's a 4-race minimum without exceeding so many points that you have to earn that privilege. more drivers and friends join us in the spectator area. That's another talking point as well. We have 43 drivers out on track. Not even more than that trying to make the show here tonight. But it is very much first come, first serve. Greg McDaniel still blitzing around. He's up in that top spot. He's also our hard charger so far. Up to 2 spots. He's going to get credit for a lap led here at Daytona. Now we're just 1 lap away from drivers being played the cross green white flag, signaling the halfway mark of today's main event. Also want to give another tip of the hat to all the fans and friends coming out here tonight. A massive viewership from everybody across the world. Greatly appreciated. I know the league sponsors as well as the drivers definitely appreciate you showing up and cheering them on here. And after 12 votes so far, we have 92% of the voters thinking we're going to get at least 1 green flag stop out of this. Now, we had that early caution on lap 20, kind of threw a wrench in the plans, but also opened up a more fuel strategy option. We have 34 drivers on the lead lap. 39 still out on track. 3 drivers have retired. Steve Maddox, Michael Mueller, and Kevin Strandberg. Like McDaniel, yeah. At the same time, I noticed for the Jeremy Mayo side line starting to get something going here. The opening half of the race, it looked like a highline dominant track for the most part. But we are past the halfway mark officially. And we are thinking we're going to see the field go open the next 5 or 6 laps. Now, Rick points out that the inside line is very smooth corners, more so than the high line. I'm going to grab an onboard, and I'm going to show you one racer's opinion of why that is. Let's go on board Courtney Nelson, second in line. But out of the front of the car, you can't see much besides a Cartoon Network advertisement off the rear of the Daniel Chevrolet. But what you can see is the yellow line out of your peripheral vision, and that is a little bit more of a reference point to kind of keep the car on line. Now, when you're up on the high side, don't have as much as a reference mark. You have to look for either the white lines, the black C, to try and know where your car position is out on track. So that is one broadcaster's belief. While it might be a little bit easier to hold it down low, having that reference out that left-hand side of your vision. Question for the fans, but I know we've got a lot of drivers in the affected area. Let's say all things being equal, an empty track, 1 driver running the low line, 1 driver running the high line. I wonder how much more fuel you'll burn stepping up in the middle or high against the wall here at Daytona. I know it's a factor, but I don't know if we're talking about a half lap difference over the course of a run, a full lap maybe. A little bit further back in the field, 17th, you've got Jonathan Green right there in the fray. Bring the number 98 Ford Mustang. Side by side with Sean Foltz, number 95. Foltz in charge of all the graphics done this season. If you're in the Old Bastards Racing Discord, he, man, makes all the cool weekly images week in and week out. Definitely deserves a round of virtual applause there. at the tail end of this pack. That's going to be Clint Rice and Lloyd Moore just kind of hanging out. I wonder if they're expecting some sort of big incident. Want to give themselves as much time to prepare as possible. Getting a race report from Rick letting us know that lap traffic's discussing going high. Let's see if there's lap traffic on the horizon. A little bit. I see about 4 or 5 drivers there. Back in the lead to the rest of the field, shuffling single file. Watching up on the high side with Robinson behind him, as well as the 81 of Chris Bates. Like we're starting to see some drivers try and funnel down the inside line. Robinson stays up top. Bates follows. Traffic going very, very high there. And let's see how this shakes down. It's going to be a white knuckle moment for everybody. We're keeping an eye out on Robinson, the number 23 machine, as he might be here with traffic. Everybody needs to be careful here to get through the tri-oval. Traffic going high, but there's only so high you can go. I think Robinson's going to play it safe here. Actually, he's going to go back down low. That's going to leave Robert Garisco still running high. There's Dale Cope, the number 55 machine next to him. You've also got Clint Rice, the number 6 machine. Well, looks like the 56, Joey Buscemi. Something has happened to Victor Lane as he has taken a tow to pit road in that number 10 machine. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't see any of on-track incident. Lane must have disconnected or had some sort of connection issue 4 or 5 laps prior. Rice is going to hop back down the low line. Buscemi still in the middle. There's Sean Fulton's guarding the inside line with Mark Fish in the 42. Want to put himself in too dangerous of a spot. Buscemi looking for an opening down the inside line, but he's got no draft support. So he can't quite pull ahead here, and it looks like he makes contact. Not sure if they might have traded a little paint there with Fulton in the 95 machine. And Buscemi, I think, is going to back out of it. Maybe wait for an opening here. Now, Lane, after that toe to pit road, is back out on track. So I think that's indicative of some sort of software or internet blink, perhaps. Daniel's still clicking off laps. They're thinking the fuel window is open for a few drivers here. Haven't seen Mad dash down pit road yet. We have broken up the pack a little bit. 15 drivers running nose to tail. Mark Fish running 16th. That pack of drivers. About 6 drivers tucked in with him. I'm hoping we get to see that mad dash of 10 to 15 drivers all charging down pit road together. got some drivers coming down pit road. Patrick Martindale leading a little bit of a pack of drivers. He's got Rogers, Wanamaker, Adams, and Everhart with him. Check back in with that lead pack. Looks like the entire field breaking down single file here, maybe trying to get set up. And here we go. Are we going to see that mad dash we're looking for? Like the lead pack stays out. About Mark Fish and friends. Yes, he's going to. Wow. Are these drivers thinking we're going to run this fuel tank till it's bone dry and maybe, just maybe, be able to make it till the end on fuel? I think that's a good strategy call. That would make me apprehensive of a late race caution. I don't think, I mean, besides the drivers very far out front, not a lot of guys would be worried about fuel. Eddie Jones, Monty Hood, Dustin Martinson down pit road. And he go. Courtney Nelson lead down pit road. He's accompanied by Brian Lynch, James Waldo, Watts, Martin, Robinson, Price, Foltz, Fish, Copeland, Ogle, Green, Buscemi, Hill, and Thomas. All down pit road as we are sliding around. Now Greg McDaniel opted to stay out in the #1 machine, as well as Wayne Hufford, Gary Isaacs, Chris Bates, Clay Walker, Robert Marisco, Brian Lindsay, Floyd Moore, and Jack Yeagerman. All going to extend that fuel run out. So we've got about, at this point, I've got about 2 different fuel strategies. Some guys knowing they're going to have to make a second stop. Some thinking, hey, we can end if we go green. Greg McDaniel's going to send it down pit road. Looks like Jerry Isaacs will join, as well as Walker, Garisco, and Lindsay. Floyd Moore also coming down pit road. Who stays out, though? That's Wayne Hufford and Chris Bates. Now running first and second. Hufford, the number 75. Bates, the 1. Let's see, does Hufford try and tuck in behind somebody and continue a little bit of fuel saving? Chris Bates is right behind him in that number 81 machine. Not going to be able to get to pit road this time by as they are up against the wall. A little bit of smoke coming from pit road. I think that's from drivers who let the magic smoke out of somebody's race machine. Mayo reminding us that Hufford and Bates are teammates, so they're going to try and pit together. Like they are going to be able to get to the inside line here, maybe setting up for a pit stop. Looks like they're going to stay out. So Hufford and Bates, I feel comfortable saying, are really the only 2 drivers on this alternative strategy, but look at the traffic up ahead of them. I think these are the 2 drivers that are going to definitely try and stretch this thing out till the end. Jack Yeagerman came down pit road by his lonesome in the number 27. A ton of traffic up there ahead for Hufford and Bates, but that's not necessarily bad news. They might be able to use the draft off of Lloyd Moore's mixed machine to try and continue fuel saving. I'm going to be very interested to see where they're at on track. That is going to be the kind of the deciding factor of, is this a good strategy or not? As the 2 teammates, Hufford and Bates, come down pit road. That's going to put Michael Watts back as the race leader. And we're going to keep on that where Hufford and Bates come back out on track with. A lot of drivers were in their pit stalls for about 15.5 seconds, so that indicates 4 tires and a full tank of gas. Bates out of his pit stall, 14.6 seconds. Hufford, 15.3. Now, where are those going to two be at compared to the pack that's blasting around here? Here comes the pack. We're keeping an eye out for Bates and Hufford. Where are they going to be able to rejoin at? There they are out of pit road, trying to get up to speed as this pack makes their way around. They're going to be able to latch on, I think. The pack. And honestly, this might not be a bad spot for Hufford and Bates. Bates just ahead of his teammate now, but they cannot afford to lose that lead pack. They're 7/10 behind off the back of Jerry Isaacs, the 51. I say if they lose that lead pack, it is game over for that strategy. Like they might be able to catch them here. They're still hanging out about 6/10, 7/10 back. Got Derek Cook joining us here in the spectator area. But looks like Bates with Hufford in tow. Well, that's tantalizing right at the tail end there. No, it was only a 2-car stop. I think it's a good and viable strategy play from Bates and Hufford. They've caught the draft. They'll be able to do a little bit of fuel saving if they kind of stick in line here and follow the pack. I'd say they put themselves in a good situation with fuel. Watts did about 40 laps on his tank of gas, and he should be good to go to the end, but a little tighter for Watts. He's running up front, pushing more air than the rest of the field. And for the 76% of the voters who voted that we were going to get a green flag pit cycle, it awards you 1,000 internet points each for spot on the money there. Derek Cook saying some good, kind things here about the OBRL. And that circles back to the triple-digit rules we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. If you are a triple-digit driver, eligible to qualify. A great admin team here as well, so able to make things happen for the newer drivers. And I'm fairly confident, we had somebody tell us earlier, a very long-time veteran, Eddie Jones, is doing a little bit of coaching with one of the triple-digit drivers this event. So the entire crew here at OBRL has a mutual interest in helping drivers get up to pace and develop their racecraft. Everybody loves racing, doesn't matter if it's first or 30th. They want to have these good green flag runs, and they're more than willing to help other drivers who are interested in learning to develop that racecraft. It looks like we got a little bit of lap traffic that Watts and Robinson are avoiding. Traffic's going to go low here. That's Patrick Martindale, the number 93 machine, who's going to hug the apron to help facilitate that pass for the lead pack. Blue Beaver giving some love to Eddie Cajun Jones. Jones down about 8 spots from where he started, running 34th in number 14 Toyota Camry. But look who's right behind Jones, and I think might be what's going on here. Jones giving a little bit of a tow to Monty Hood, the 102. Hood, our rookie driver, our lone rookie driver out on track. I believe getting some personalized coaching from Jones, so that might be part of the reason you don't see Jones up front out for this one, as he's taking the time to teach some of the new members here at the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. Now, as a reminder to the fans as well, if you want to get on the action, OBRL.net has the requirements to join the series for multiple series here at OBRL. They run Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. Let me get clarification on that. Monday, Wednesday, yep, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays. And when they're not out on track racing, just about every night, as something going on. Could be a practice session, could be something different, just trying out some different cars, but a great, big, dysfunctional family here at the OBRL. Watt still running up front. That number 84 machine, Robinson's second in line. I think that was a big send from Dale Copeland going up to the high side. Copeland has made it 29 positions gained. I still remember, I believe it was Bristol Dirt. Last year, the rear prior, we saw Copeland pick up a win, but they're going to have another caution as Brian Lynch finds himself in the safety fence. I think that was Lynch. No, was that Sean Foltz, the graphic man, the number 95. Tighten that camera angle up a little bit so the mileage is gone out the window here. On Sean Foltz, the number 95 machine, up on the high side. Looks for an opening against Copeland. I think he might have gotten bumped there a little bit. And then just gets glued in. That's poor Victor Lane, the number 10 machine, tied up in that one, as well as Dale Copeland's going to have some damage. Drivers that we think might be involved: Victor Lane, Dale Copeland, Eddie Jones. For me, it looks like Foltz looked for an opening and went back in line and then might have gotten a little bit of a bump from somebody. Now, all these events are reviewed by the race stewards post-race to see if anybody's at fault. That's going to be our second caution of the night. Yeah, I've got to agree with Jeremy Mayo here. Fuel strategy, unfortunately, thrown out the window. Corey saying some nice words, saying if you want to race on Sundays, make sure you get there right as the session open. We packed the field out here tonight. 43 drivers, and I think I know of at least 5 or 6 more that were trying to get into the session, as we've got 25 laps left to go here, the season opener of Daytona. Yeah, things are about to get very exciting. Normally it's about 10 laps left to go. We see the elbows come out and drivers get a little bit more aggressive, but now we've stacked the field up. So most of the field did not come down pit road unless they were worried about being short on fuel. Case in point, Michael Watts, your race leader, has been pushing that air for a while on that number 84 machine at the top spot. has stayed out under caution, is a bit more fuel saving here. We've got them all gridded back up, double file as far back as the eye can see. And it's going to be 23 laps left to go. Once these guys are ready to fire it up here. And we are green flag racing once more, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. That's going to be Robinson and Watts on the front row, Rice and Nelson second row, Lynch and Walker your third row. Robinson on the gas early. The race leader, that number 23 machine, Watts, has fallen back to fourth while the inside tries to pick up momentum. And we're already bobbing and weaving down the backstretch. And this is going to be a very short run here, as it's going to be a big incident. I know Joey Buscemi's tied up in that one. Daniel Edgren, Alan Wanamaker somehow involved. What happened there? Buscemi. I think Buscemi was taking evasive action. Try and get that replay up. There's Daniel Edgren, the 67. That just got absolutely. Is that Sean Fulton? I think it was. I don't. Maybe James Wall. Oh, good eye. All right, now that we've figured out who's all involved in that one, let's get that one kicked up one final time and break that one down. Waldo got tagged by the number 2 machine. Hard hits going around there. Also, Daniel Edgren, we covered that one. Tom Emerson, I'm saying his name correctly. It's the first time I've called a race with him. I think Embassy, if I had a guess, driver that's triggering the broadcast software, getting hard on the binders, he's in that number 60 machine. Yeah, not a proper crash there for MSC, thankfully, able to avoid carnage. That's going to be our third caution of the night. I'll be right back. Gonna grab some more water up here in the booth. Don't go anywhere. You are watching YesterYear Racing Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. We are stacked back up, double filed. Robinson, Rice, your front row. Nelson and Hufford, your second row. Isaacs and Briscoe, your third row. Now, I didn't say caution-free was the OBRL way, but I will say these guys run good, clean races more often than not. So I'll defend the OBRL for sure on this one. This is still some of the cleanest oval racing I've seen on iRacing, public or private leagues alike. And I also agree. I think we're going to see at least one more. Cautions tend to breed cautions, and now it's going to be 19 laps left to go at a super speedway. You know, there's going to be no more fuel saving needed for these drivers, so I think the gloves are going to come off, and we're going to see some more adventurous choices here. Safety cars down pit road. And we are green flag once more. You see Barney, our flagman, vigorously waving the green. Now Robinson's going to be on the inside line. It's been kind of back and forth tonight during this race on what line has been a little bit more dominant. Oh, already I see something happening on the high side. Driver's getting a little bit out of shape there. That was Tom Ogle giving a push to Robert Garisco, the new livery on the number 28 Ford. There's a fairly popular rule here. Speedway say don't push the pusher. So if the driver in front of you is actively pushing somebody else, don't give them a shove or things can rapidly get out of hand. About 17 drivers in this lead pack. Clint Rice leading the charge up front on the inside line. The other super speedway rule is generally you don't want to be leading on the white flag lap, as somebody's going to be able to get around you here. See how this field settles in here. As Rice is going being a little bit further out of the vortex of danger. 17 laps left to go in this season opener. Looks like Robinson thinking about going to the high side. He does get into it. He's going to be ahead of Robert Garisco in the 28. Maybe seeing if he can get that line formed up a little bit. Garisco has Ogle, the number 11 machine, coming off that winter championship behind him. And look at the 51 of Jerry Isaacs. The Foxback Chevrolet shoved to Rice there, trying to get things going. Courtney Nelson, the 48, also on the inside line. Barney, our flagman, watches on to make sure everybody's behaving out on the track. Little bit of cloud cover here as well for the drivers. Thankfully not getting blasted with sunshine, making their way out of turns 3 and 4. Dale Copeland, unfortunately, join us for the spectator, always cracking me up. Not a fan of the Super Speedway Draft Lottery. Now that Copeland's here, maybe he can correct me or confirm me here. I believe the first time I saw Copeland get a win here at the OBRL was at Bristol Dirt. Maybe he'll let me know if I'm right or wrong on that one. I can't remember if that was last season or maybe 2022 I got to call that race. It all runs together at this point. We are 15 laps left to go here at the high banks of Daytona. When are we going to see drivers start to really make moves? We haven't seen really any 3 wide here unless the field was trying to navigate traffic. So it wasn't at Bristol Dirt. I was incorrect. Looks like it was July 30th, 2023, Copeland got his first win at Richmond. I pull up the old stat sheet there and double check it. Rice still holding on to it, nice and smooth the inside line, still getting good, consistent pushes from Jerry Isaacs. Isaacs qualified 3rd for this main event, up 1 spot from where he started. Right now, hard charger out on track. That's going to be Robert Garisco, the 28 Ford Mustang. Up 22 spots as he sits in 5th place. Well, we've got some sort of moves being made there. That is the field splitting. Brian Lindsay, the number 24, who is stuck in the middle groove there, looking for a way to get out of it. We'll wait till these drivers start forming up 3 wide, and it's going to be all sorts of white knuckle here. I think Isaacs and Nelson are in a really good spot, as well as Wayne Hufford sitting in 4th. If they can make it to the white flag without incident, that's a big ask, because this is where things get pretty spicy and dicey on super speedways. Now, Robert Garisco fell back heavily in number 28. He's back to 15th. I'm almost wondering as well if Garisco thought, you know what, somebody's going to cause another big one here. I want off of this thing. I appreciate the fans as well. We're on the same page here tonight, folks. You guys are noticing some of the exact same things at the exact same time that I am. In this case, it was Garisco falling back to 15. Always enjoy it when our racers join us in the spectator. I do hate it. We have racers joining the broadcast after a big incident that forced them to retire, but really cool having the drivers give feedback and a lot of insight as well. That's very beneficial to both the fans and myself up here in the booth. 10 laps left to go here. Bryce still out front with Isaacs and Nelson tucked in behind him. Hufford and Martin round out the top 5. There's Brian Lynch, the number 9 machine, up on the high side. He's got Michael Watson, number 84, behind. Is this where we're going to see some runs being developed? And then we'll lead to subsequent blocks as Wayne Hufford goes up to the high side. Maybe thinking that's where some of the pace is going to be at. You've got Hufford, Lynch, Watson, I believe he has also Ogle and Robinson on the high side. That is a pretty stout line of talent there. We have about 14 drivers in this lead pack. They'll have 8.5 laps to wad up some perfectly good race cars. We've got more drivers trying to make moves here. That was number 94 of William Martin going high in his Ford Mustang. The 4, oh no! William Martin was involved in something. Looked like Jack Yeagerman was as well. Not seeing a caution come out. But we'll stay green here. Let's see what happened to Yeagerman. Oh, it's up front. That started with William Martin getting tied up with somebody. We're going to check this one more angle, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, because we've got racing going on. Looked like Martin and Hufford got together. Hufford and Lynch also rubbing a little bit of paint. So that's going to take them out of the run here. And it looks to be a 4-car breakaway. Rice, Isaacs, and Nelson. A full second up from Brian Lindsay. Lindsay has Hufford, Lynch, Watson, Hill behind. Let's keep an eye on the lap times to see if that second pack's going to be able to close the distance here. Top 4 drivers running nice and tidy, nose to tail quite literally, as you watch Isaacs shoving Rice down the backstretch here at Daytona. Lead pack holding 1.3 seconds. If they stay in line, they might be able to bring it home without that second pack ever catching up. This is a massive opportunity for these drivers. Clint Rice still in the hot seat. If somebody's going to hop out of line, it's got to be. It's not going to be Rice. I can tell you that much. Isaacs has seemed content following Rice along in that number 51 machine. So I'm wondering if Courtney Nelson would be the first to hop out of line in the 48, hoping that Chris Bates would go with him, but it's going to be a game of chess here, because if Bates does not offer to help push Nelson up, that is going to put Nelson out of podium contention. 5 laps left to go here at Daytona. The top 4 drivers continuously pulling more ground away from 5th place back. We're all thinking the top 4 is going to stay nice and toned. They'd rather battle against the 4 of each other under white flag and have some more drivers join the party up front. And back to that second pack. They're 1.8 seconds without a caution. I think they're in trouble here. I think they're going to be battling for 5th if they can't make their way up towards the front extremely quickly as we go too wide in that second pack. Hufford is shoving Brian Lindsay here, but Jerry Isaacs, that number 51 machine, has done a great job pushing here tonight. Pushing Clint Rice the last 20 laps or so. They're gaining a little bit of ground, have closed it down to 1.5 seconds. But with 3 laps left to go, is it too little too late? I mean, that would have to be a half second a lap they would have to gain to catch up to that pack. Now this is the question, are the top 4 going to settle for their current spots? Or are they going to try and make something happen under the white flag? If they end up side by side, they could slow the pace down here and allow that second pack to catch up. But even if they wait till the white flag lap, but they go 4 wide the entire lap, I'm not sure if that second pack is going to be able to close the distance. Ogle now sitting in 5th with his teammate Robinson giving the shove from behind. If our leaders can take the white flag, we'll run this thing out to the end without having to use any of our green-white checker attempts. And I've got to agree with the fans. It's going to be a 4-car shootout. It's going to be Rice, Isaacs, Nelson, and Bates. Who's willing to settle and who's willing to push here? We unfurl the white flag, the season opener, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series here at the OBRL. White flag is out for the race leader, Clint Rice. Looks like Nelson might have dropped back ever so slightly. Are we going to see a run? Ogle and friends 5th place back are within a second here. Surely we're not going to see those guys catch up. I have the wager. I think Nelson, the 51 machine, is going to hang tight. Ogle has closed the gap to 0.6 of a second back from the lead drivers, but it's going to be too little too late here. As we make our way through turns 3 and 4, the second pack had the momentum built up. Here we go, Bates and Nelson, a little bit of contact. And who's going to sneak onto a podium? No! Ogle not quite able to do it. It's going to be Rice, Isaacs, and Nelson. Your top 3. Ogle able to bring home a 4th. If he had an extra half lap, I think Ogle would have been in podium contention. But well done, Clint Rice, getting the first win of the season here. And let's take a quick look, see what happened that tail end. It looked like Nelson and Bates were throwing some haymakers and some blocks. And that ended up with Bates getting the worst end of it. Robinson had some sort of damage too, so Robinson, I think, was on the ragged edge, just pushing that car as hard as he could to try and close that gap. No guts, no glory. Waiting to get our drivers around for their podium interviews. We've lost Courtney Nelson. Nelson's got some damage on that thing. Poor Nelson tried his best to limp it to the line. I heard the car parts scattering off the side of that 48 machine, but he is able to make his way to the line, accompanying Clint Rice and Jerry Isaacs for their podium photos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Clint Rice is going to burn it down here at Daytona. Plenty of fuel in the tank here. And a very well-deserved victory burnout. And ladies and gentlemen, if I'm looking at this correctly, this is Rice's first ever career win here at the Cup Series. So we're still waiting on Nelson and Rice to make their way up here to victory lane for those podium interviews. And man, what a great start to the season here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A packed field, just a few cautions, and even down to the wire, great racing amongst our competitors. Now we're just waiting on Courtney Nelson. And we're good to go here. We're going to get things started with Courtney Nelson. Join us in the 48 machine. Courtney, welcome to the top three. And man, what a wild lap here at Daytona.
Yeah, that was quite the finish.
Now, were you worried? I mean, you top four, had a pretty comfortable breakaway. It looked like that second pack was closing very, very quickly at the end. So were you worried you guys were going to spend too much time duking out in the top four and allow those guys to catch up behind you?
I seen them coming, so I was trying to stay in line and make my move on the last lap, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get help, so I figured third's better than fourth.
I think, yes, sir, you're spot on. Now, Courtney, it's a long race. We have the what I call the draft lottery in play, where you don't know if you're just going to be in the wrong place at the right time. How did you try and put yourself in a position to make it till the end of this race when we saw so many drivers going home early?
More luck. I was just trying to ride for a while and got myself up leading a pack for middle of the race, just trying to survive it and then figure out where the chips fall at the end.
Well, Courtney, I'm glad it worked out well for you. Good having you up here on the podium for the first time this season. Before I let you go and celebrate, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped to make it happen?
All the guys that run the league, you guys for broadcasting it, and then my team, Top Flight Racing. It's been fun racing with these guys.
Awesome. Courtney, good to have you back up here, and hopefully many more to come throughout the season.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Well, sir. That was Courtney Nelson. Join us in the number 3 spot. Up next, Jerry Isaacs, the number 51 machine. Jerry, that front bumper was putting in work tonight behind Clint Rice.
It was working pretty hard. That was a lot of fun.
Now, I had my suspicions, and I was willing to gamble a little bit that we weren't going to see you hop out in line. So did you and Rice kind of realize midway through that race, hey, this is working well, let's not change anything and just charge forward?
Well, I kind of really wanted to be a pusher there after that last caution. I felt like I could push pretty good. And you know, Clint got there in front of me and we pushed off pretty good. And at that point, I told him I'll stick with him until the end. And then I saw coming into the last lap, I saw Courtney and looked like Bates, I think, drop back. I think they were going to make a big run. And then I told Clint again, I said, dude, I'm with you here. They're going to make a run. I'm just going to push as hard as I can.
Yeah, and it looked like they weren't quite able to get linked up. I saw that too. They were almost at 1.34 tenths, where historically the 5-10 laps prior, you guys were all linked up nose to tail. Did you also notice that 5th place pack rapidly closing up behind you all?
I did. I was telling Courtney, like, get on my bumper, get on my bumper. I think we can, stay ahead of these guys. I saw him coming, but he was trying to do, get a run himself. So I don't blame him for that. But it had me nervous. I was really worried that pack was going to catch us, and if they caught us, they'd have huge momentum.
Yeah, they were steamrolling behind you guys, but Jerry able to keep it relatively clean tonight. Put yourself in a good position. You qualified third, up one spot. Where was the prime track position to be on this one to kind of keep yourself out of danger?
I liked running up in the top, 10 really, and maybe even the top 5 if I can get there. I actually don't like leading. I want to be up there and save a little bit of fuel, shorten my pit stop. But I like to try and be in front of all the craziness that goes on. And this group's great. We don't have too much craziness, but usually just kind of stay in front of the craziness, but not quite in front of the pack. And then once you make that last pit stop, that money stop, that's when you really push hard.
Well, Jerry, glad you were able to put it all together. A great race for you in that 51 machine. Love the sponsor on the side of that car. As an old moto guy myself. And before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen for you?
I want to thank the Old Bastards Racing League, of course. Thanks to them for putting it on. I appreciate that. And you guys for broadcasting, and my teammates, Mad, Spartan, Sim Racing, and of course, my crew chief, Cody Richardson. He was spotting and crew chiefing for me. I couldn't have done it without him.
Awesome, Jerry. Good to have you up here. And
what?
Hopefully,
one more.
Oh yeah, go ahead, sir.
Hi, Mom. Okay.
All right, perfect, Jerry. Congratulations, buddy. Good to have you up here, and hopefully we'll see you up a bunch throughout the season.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate everything.
Thank you, sir. That was Jerry Isaacs joining us in the number 2 spot. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Clint Rice, the number 6 machine. Clint, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is the first Cup win you've had in that machine.
It is, man. I wasn't expecting it on a super speedway either.
Yeah, no kidding. We say it every time we're out on one of these high mileage tracks, but things either go really well, really terribly, and you never know till the checker's out which way your race is going to go.
Yeah. Jerry was behind me, and on the radio, he was sitting there saying he was going to continue pushing me, but he did a great job, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have won.
Yeah, how do those mid-race alliances kind of form up? Do you just end up bumper to bumper with somebody and go, hey, this kind of works, let's keep with this?
Well, I don't know who was behind us. I wasn't really looking at the standings, but I didn't know if he had a teammate or not. So he was either him go up with somebody behind us with a teammate or what. But I don't know. I didn't have a teammate up there, and yeah, it was basically okay. Appreciate it, Jerry, but that's the way it went down.
Well, glad you're able to link up and get some momentum going and avoid the carnage. And speaking of carnage, is it a lot of relief starting up front and then keeping that race lead and knowing that most of the danger is behind you out on track?
Yeah, it is, but some people get aggressive pushing like that, and it's real easy to turn somebody. But I don't know, on that last restart, I was surely expecting Josh and Courtney to get the run on that underside or lower side, but like I said, Jerry did a great job pushing me, and we cleared both of them, or both of us cleared. So that's the way that they play out on these super speedways. It's a crapshoot.
Well, Clint, glad the draft lottery landed in your favor tonight. The first Cup Series win, starting the season off super strong for that number 6 Chevrolet, and you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen for you and the team?
Yeah, man, I'd like to say thank you to our league sponsor, YesterYear, and these admins that put together such a great group of drivers and let us come out every Sunday and have a great time. But thank you all for what you do. Thank you for putting the show out there for us, and glad to be a part of it.
Clint, good to have you up here in the top spot. Hopefully one of many more times to come. And again, congratulations on a huge first-time win. And again, awesome to have you up here, bud.
Thank you, man. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, sir. That was Clint Rice joining us in the number 1 spot. His first ever Cup Series win here at the Old Bastards Racing League. Starting things off with that YesterYear Racing Cup Series first time win. He was accompanied by professional pusher Jerry Isaacs and Courtney Nelson finishing in third. On behalf of the YesterYear Racing Cup Series, again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, YesterYear Racing, Butt Kicker, Victory Lane Sports, and Top Flight Computers. On behalf of the Old Bastards Racing League, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.